How aware are you of your spirit guides? Do you know they're with you right now? Do you know they're trying to communicate with you all the time? Do you ever wonder if you're just making it up in your head? Which is normal, by the way, and is part of the practice when you start connecting with them. Hi there, beautiful souls. I'm Michèle Duquet. Welcome to my channel, Soulful and Unplugged, where I talk about everything having to do with the spiritual awakening journey and help you make sense of it. So how do you know when you're really hearing a message from your spirit guides? And how do you hear those messages? So here are 5 ways to both hear those messages and know they're coming from your spirit guides. Number 1, meditation. Think of meditation as setting up a sacred listening space. When you're talking to spirit, the universe, your guardian angels, or your guides, that's a form of prayer. And when you're meditating, that's when you're an open receptor. That's when you're listening. So when you're meditating, let the visions come. Follow them. You don't have to make sense of them. Just observe what comes up and simply know that you're receiving impressions from the other realms. While you're in that meditative state, you can even ask a question and see what answers you get. The beauty about meditation is that we open our hearts and become much more grateful about everything in our lives. This really helps our guides to enter into our hearts and communicate with us because we are much more open and receptive. If you want some help in your meditations on how to connect with your guides, I created a meditation which I will link up here as well as in the descriptions below. Number 2, writing a letter to yourself, kind of like a dear self letter. I started doing that years ago. I was barely in my 20s and I've been journaling my whole life. But what I was needing in that moment was connecting to those beautiful, benevolent, energetic beings that accompanied me in all of my astral travels when I was a kid, because I went through 2 years of astral projection between the age of 8 and 10 where they were teaching me every night about all kinds of multidimensional universes, multidimensional realms. I was really missing that connection. And as I was writing in my journal like all the time, I thought, well, what if I pretended that they were talking to me? What if I just wrote a Dear Michèle letter and pretended that they were talking to me? It was amazing what came through. And really that was the beginning of my channeling from the energetic realms. It wasn't automatic writing, nothing like that, but it was really what was being communicated to me in my heart. It was a way of communicating that was not my way. Didn't have my voice. It had a definite higher realm dimension to it. So do that, try it. Just start with a dear self letter and see what comes up. It could be you're in need of some emotional support, you're in need of some hope and some inspiration. So write a dear self letter, like a letter to yourself. Imagine these beautiful, benevolent, energetic beings, your spirit guide, talking to you. What would they say? Number 3, ask a question and don't censor the answer. Do it right now. Ask a question you'd like the answer to right now. What's the first thing you hear without any kind of censoring? What's the answer you got? This is usually what we do. We get an answer and we dismiss it. We think, I just made it up. So let's try this again. Think of a question that has a simple yes or no answer. Now settle into your body. Just relax into this moment. Now ask the question with complete sincerity. What's the first thing you get? That very first impression of a yes or a no. So for example, your question may be very simple. Just, is this for real? And the answer you get is a very warm feeling with the impression that you hear, you know it is. And it's said in a very warm, loving way. And you feel a shift within you with that answer. That for sure is a message from your spirit guides. Number 4, ask for signs. A wonderful aspect of connecting with your spirit guides in your morning meditations are the signs and messages that take you by complete surprise throughout the day. I believe the universe and our energetic guides are constantly communicating with us, but the act of opening our hearts and entering a space of gratitude in our morning meditations makes it that much easier for them to impress upon us the messages that they want us to hear. Being in a state of gratitude opens our heart to all of the incredible creativity that is around us. This empowers us to receive those gifts, creative ideas, signs, and messages that show up in the everyday details of our life. It's as if we're giving the universe and our spirit guides permission to let us know that our intentions to connect with them at the energetic realms have been received and already exist in the creative energetic field. The magic is in the asking. Number 5, listen to your intuition. Stop and be really present to the more subtle realms through your intuition. Open your heart and feel any subtle shifts in energy that make you feel calmer, less anxious, just better, uplifted, hopeful, inspired, more loved. It really helps when you spend time in nature or just go for a walk. Anything that brings you into a more contemplative inner space. Find some quiet time in stillness without necessarily being in meditation. It could be listening to music or sitting in a park watching people or a beautiful sunset. Bring yourself into a space where your heart is the primary listener and messenger. I believe our spirit guides are deeply connected to us through our intuition. And taking the time to create those situations and environments that make it more conducive to you connecting to your intuition will naturally evolve into you being able to hear those messages from your spirit guides. Next week, I continue my awakening series with a new video on the 7 stages of spiritual awakening. So if you want to find out what stage you're at, you don't want to miss that. If you want to watch the other videos in the series, I'll link the playlist up here as well as in the descriptions below. Mwah! Love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye for now.